I know you talked about it. I know your mom cooked a lot.
Right.
But how did you get into the food thing? Like, how did that start?
It started with your dad. I mentioned this before, like when we were kids going to the restaurant and playing, I just was fascinated about the action that was going on in the kitchen and the noise and the prep and the people and the conversation and the...
Well, that's what we talked about, right?
And, you know, your mom coming in the kitchen screaming with Alan's florist in there for lunch and calling him every name in the book, and me not seeing that side of your mom.
Any of you don't know my mom? Yeah. So my did you know my mom has a channel?
No, but that'd be great.
Yeah, no, she actually does. My niece follows my mom around, and it's called I'll get the actual thing. It's called Grumpy Grandma.
Oh, geez.
It's the Instagram is Grumpy Grandma. Michael, if this wasn't my mom, like I would watch I do watch every second of it, but it's freaking hilarious because my mother, God bless her, she just, I don't want to say miserable, but she's just the old Italian. Yeah. I mean, she's just out of her mind. It's hilarious.
Maybe that was the thing that turned me on to. I mean, I don't know. There was something about it. There was something about it.
That's what made me hate it.
Right, but there was that's why I guess film. I just love that action. And then when I was in school, when the vocational program came up, I really wanted to go there.
So take me there. So you, because we were friends, but high school we kind of like drifted, right? Because I had the sports thing going on.
Yeah.
And you went, like, what grade did you take the culinary thing? Like,
it was 11th and 12th. They offered a culinary program, and I knew a couple people that were in it.
Okay.
And they told me, they go, if you're gonna do it, take it in the morning. You could have breakfast. You could like cook, you know, and make yourself lunch and stuff. And I was like, oh, that sounds pretty cool, you know. And I went there, and I just had an old Italian chef. It was like, it reminded me of your dad, you know, just old school guy that just...
he was there forever, right?
Bianchini.
What was his name?
Tony Bianchini.
Yeah.
And, you know, he just...
And that's how the whole thing started.
That's how the whole thing started, where he just taught me the old school way of cooking, and just, you know, with the wooden paddle and the old pots and just old school Italian. You know, the first day I remember he taught us how to make a pot of coffee. He goes, the most important job in the restaurant is how to make a pot of coffee.
Is that kind of like the egg thing in the culinary? Like, I never really got that, but a lot of people, they want you to make an egg.
Yeah,
you said that to me. Yeah. You can make a simple egg. Is it an omelet, or is it
make an omelet or any kind of egg?
Over easy or something?
You're in. Okay. You know, but
if you can't tell, Mike's the culinary guy. Yeah, not me so much. But
you know, the deal is that with that being said, like, you make a pot of, like, you know, because people really sometimes don't know how to make a pot of coffee.
Yeah.
You know, and
my dad obsessed about it.
It was all commercial, because 99% of the chefs and kitchen people drink coffee all day long. That's what keeps the energy moving. They drink espresso
all
coffee, unless they're doing crystal meth. So anyway, so you got a pot of coffee, you know, and that's how
my dad had a glass of iced coffee, and that's where I got it from. I'm not a coffee guy, but my dad had a glass of iced coffee that he would have in the restaurant all day long, and it was the perfect pot to him. It was a perfect pot of coffee, right? Back old school with the espresso with the dripper.
Correct.
Oh my, he would obsess about it. He would definitely obsess.
But that's what the old school was that's how you know, you got to make that good pot of coffee. It's got to taste good, because that's your life. That's how you're going to live.
After high school, right? Obviously, so I was on the finance bug. I was going to be the next freaking what was that?
Well, we talked about this about being in the business, because you were always like, what are you doing? Like you were like, what do you know? Do you know you're getting into it? I'm like, yeah, I love it, because I really excelled in that. I graduated #1 in my class. I had perfect attendance from vocational school. I was the top dog.
This is the messed up thing. Like, this is the stuff that I know, because I know you so well, but like, I don't know, like, because we were in different worlds at that point, and then we went on to different careers, right? So I went to school for finance, you went to school for culinary, but
I knew you hated it. I knew you hated it so much, and
is that why you didn't talk to me about it?
No. But I knew you hated it, the business, and I just was. Long story short, so Anthony Bianchini, the second year he passes away. The first month we're there, he dies of a massive heart attack.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah, first year, and then we get Ray DiNardo. Remember Ray DiNardo?
No.
All right, Ray DiNardo used to own DiNardo's. He owned a bunch of different things.
Okay. Restaurant guy.
Went to CIA. Was a big time. He was more of the modern chef.
Okay.
Anthony Bianchini was the old school Italian.
This was 12th grade.
This was 12th grade now. So we get and we're all like, well, but what he did was. It was actually the best thing that ever happened to me, and I loved Tony, and I was very upset by that. But he taught us stuff of the modern day cuisine, how to break
The
down
new
veal.
guy.
Right. We
Right.
didn't do any more Italian school. Even though he was Italian, we started doing beurre blancs and how to break down veal legs and veal tops and how to make high-end sauces and more plate presentation and doing roulades and doing all and we were like, what is going on? Like, what kind of cuisine? Like, he was doing old school stuff.
Did you know then? I know you did it as a gig, right? So this was to get through high school. So at that point, I was already having early outs, right? I was going to my dad's restaurant. I was actually doing an accounting internship down the street from the restaurant. One of my dad's friends, like, and I knew I wanted to do the finance thing. Did you know at this point I'm going to be a chef? Did you know that?
Yeah, well, because I worked in a couple restaurants, locally.
Can we bring up Denny's?
Yeah, sure. I mean, listen, what the hell? I mean, I tell you what, it taught me. It taught me speed. It taught me.
Here's the thing, Denny's, right? This is, and we'll get into it maybe a different episode. But the whole thing about like, there's not like what you went through in Denny's and what people went through in my dad's restaurant. That's almost gone, right? Like the crap that you learned from bottom up. That's the gig. Right, learning from bottom up, washing the dishes, doing the crap
absolutely
work.
100%. And you know what? At the time, Denny's had a $1.99 Grand Slam. On Sunday. Okay,
my wife talks about it all the time.
$1.99 Grand Slam, and Sunday we had 14 people on the line.
Yeah,
and we were doing $3,000.
14 people?
Yeah, and it was unbelievable how many people we were doing $3,000 hours. Okay, at Denny's for $1.99 because that's what everybody got. So you could imagine the volume.
Yeah.
200 people an hour we were turning and burning because you had a 6-minute ticket time.
Right.
So when that order came in, you had 6 minutes to produce that Grand Slam and put it in the window. So the amount of people were there, everyone had a job.
Right.
One person just did pancakes. One person just did browns. One person just did bacon. One person did sausage. One person did toast. Two people on toast. One person to put them in and one person to butter.
Yes. But you learned what and listen, we're old fucks, but these kids, like, and I don't want to go back to those kids, but you learned that was a hash house, right? So we loved it. We loved the food, but it was a hash house. But you learned how to turn and burn.
Yes.
Because that part of it, you own a fine dining restaurant now, but you understand that it can't be about doing there's the 18-hour sous vide and there's the things that you plate so perfectly, but to make money in the business, especially in today's world, you understand both.
Absolutely.
And that's what a lot of these guys don't get. Absolutely. They're like, oh, I went to CIA and I know how to, you know the terms I don't. I'm the finance guy. But I mean, it's almost like a lost thing. And that's what we're going to go over.
That's how it builds you from ground up. I mean, that's where you get respect and everything. But I was the young kid, man. I was the 16, my parents drove. I was 16 or 17 years old. I didn't even drive yet. So
we were the same age.
17. So 17.
So we were 16.
I was driving. And what happened was because I also worked at Bonanza. I was the fry guy at Bonanza.
Okay.
I worked at a couple of different places in the area, Mr. Steak.
Okay.
So I knew the volume end of it, but you got taught by these guys, these older guys who were there, and they. Listen, I was the grunt, man.
Right.
They told you where you were. Listen, you're gonna do browns today, and you're gonna do cakes today, and that's all you're gonna do. And afterwards, you're gonna scrub the line again while they went out and smoked and had a good. And I'm the guy. But you know what? I didn't say 2 words. I just did my job.
That's right.
And I earned the respect for them, and I earned the respect.
Yeah.
And you know what? As I grew older. And I worked in a lot of those restaurants, believe it or not. Before I started getting into fine dining, I did the Sandpiper one summer, and that was pure turn and burn. And I was my first year out of college, so I was 19, 18, maybe 19 years old.
But here's the thing: for people like you, loved it, right? Like now we're getting older, and listen, we're both going to be 49, born on the same freaking 2 days apart. And
yes,
I don't know about you, but this year is very, but listen, my dad passed away at 49. I'm thinking about a lot of things.
We're both going to be 50 years old.
So you love the business.
Let's hope we make it there.
Yeah, but it beat the living piss out of you.
Absolutely
right?
did.
But here's the thing. Like, you loved it and you went through it. These kids don't know that I want to be a chef. I want to be Emerald. I want to be, I want to be all these different guys. But they don't love the process. And that's what, so they go to school. They get prepped up that they're going to be these ridiculous chefs.
Yes.
Right? They come into your restaurant. Oh, I know everything. Just put me, I want to be your sous chef. And they need to go through the process. They need to, and this sounds almost ridiculous, they need to take the garbage out.
And there's only
garbage out.
There's only one thing to thank that. Thank you, Food Network. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for destroying our industry.
We love you. but you
Thank
suck.
you destroying our industry because these kids think that they're going to be the next Bobby Flay, Guy Fieri, all these dopies that worked 20 years to build their brand and their name. But these kids think they can walk in and not clean, not do anything because they think they're the superstar. And that's the problem.
Yes.
And I'll tell you,
they don't love the process. You have to love the freaking process. You know what,
though? To work, I am not as forgiving as most people. I beat you up and I will destroy you and I make you cry. Yeah. And I send you home on your way where their parents call me and say, you made little Johnny cry. And I said, you're damn right I did because you're not doing a good job. I could tell you the first 3 seconds you're in my kitchen if you know how to hold yourself and hold a knife and the way you act and your attitude if you're going to make it or not. But I will beat you down.
But here's the thing, right? And we talked about employment, right? And at the bakery, we grew up together. That was my dad. You did it his way. You did it right, or you got the hell out. You literally didn't last a day, right? In the bakery, just to get people, because I have 17, 18, 19-year-old kids that the art's gone. So we're just trying to, we're trying to make a pizza delivery guy, right? Yeah. Not a pizza guy. Not a pizza guy that's making a pizza delivery guy. We're trying to make him a baker. And if we do that, he literally, Absolutely. There's been times we've had guys come in the bakery and Carmel's my head guy and he's like us, he's old school, but he'll grind these guys. Well, John, if they can't take it, and I had to explain to him, yes, but not today. You just can't do that. Almost can't do that anymore. Yes. They will run and scream out. That being said, the couple of kids that I have now, right, we've taken them, and I don't want to say we baby them. I don't want to say we baby them. We baby them. But they're actually enjoying what they're doing. Yeah. Right? And so now, but it's a different mentality, right? You can't do that anymore. Here's the thing. I don't know if what my dad did and what you learned, I don't know if that's the right thing. Like, I don't know. Like, the older I get, we talk about it, but I don't know if that was the right thing, right? These kids, what they grew up, everybody gets a trophy and all that stuff. Yes. That's not right? My kids don't learn that. But that being said, that mindset, we just have to, in order to keep people.
No, I learned that a long time ago. I bit my tongue. I had to bite my tongue off, and my tongue's been gone for 20-something years now. Yeah. When I had a whole line walk out on me. Yeah. Because they didn't
the whole bakery. Literally, just like you, the whole.
Because they didn't like the schedule I put up. Yeah. And I wouldn't hire one of their friends, so they all decided on Saturday night at 7 o'clock to say goodbye and walk out and leave me hanging with a full restaurant with a line at the door. What do you do? Yeah. Do you shut it down? No, I grabbed every single person I can, and I gave them a task and showed them how to do it. And guess what?
You got through the day.
We got through that night, and we actually rocked it out. Yep. And a good bottle of vodka helped the ending part of it. And you know what? That's how we got through. And that's why it's hard for me to not be that, because I went through. Listen. I grew up in a time where you were allowed to, you got punched in the back of the head. If you weren't working fast enough, the chef would burn your back of your thighs with hot saute pans.
My dad would throw the pot from the line. Throw the pot into. Yeah. I was the guy washing dishes. Sometimes it hit me in the head. Sometimes it wouldn't. Yep. But that's the way. And listen, my dad loved me. He didn't do it. He didn't do it because he hated me. That was how they. That was it. That was a chef.
But that's. I mean, I can't tell you how many plates I threw and saute pans I threw, and I've been hit in the back of the head with wooden paddles, and I've done everything. So for me not to do that anymore, and to I don't coddle. Yeah. But I also know that, and I learned a very valuable lesson. This is a very valuable lesson: is you can't do it by yourself. No. And I wanted a day off.
Still trying to figure that out.
And if you let everybody leave, then you got to work 7 days a week,
That's right.
90 hours a week. And so unfortunately, I would have to bite my tongue and to compromise on some things
and figure it out.
So I can get a day off and get my head straight. I still worked 80 hours a week, but I needed that day off to get my head straight. So there is that level of compromise, and you have to do that.
We have to work smarter, not harder. I know it's a cliche, but that's really
it's the name of the game. But, there is that little inner part of me that would love to beat the hell out of you. I mean, beat you with a stick and light you on fire.
Okay, on that note, this is the $1 Million Food Guys. We're going to be coming at you weekly, hopefully weekly. We'll figure it out. Yes. Well, maybe every 2 weeks because we're busy people. But the whole point of the channel, right, is to talk about the industry. If anybody knows about it, it's us. We've been in it forever. Are we the smartest guys on the block? Maybe not. But we've been through the trenches. We've been through the highs. Both of our businesses are very successful. Thank the Lord.
Yep.
So we're just going to do this for fun. We're coming at you weekly. Listen, you got to comment. You got to put something down there. If you think we suck, if you loved it, if you hate it, if you want to see stuff, we're going to bring our friends on,
Absolutely.
right? That's the plan.
Yep.
We got a ton of friends in this industry.
Yep.
We're going to interview them. We're going to go to their restaurants, their delis, their bakeries. We're just going to talk to people in the industry because this is what we do. We love this business, unfortunately. We're almost born into it.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
We're going to figure it out.
Well, it's in our blood. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And we can't, no matter what we do, it's still going to be in our blood.
Yeah, so I appreciate you going through that whole thing because I really wanted to figure that out. Because I'm like, the one thing, my regret is that if I would have known that, I know the whole Italian thing, I would have forced you to literally come in the restaurant and be with my dad. I would have been there because I would have fucking hated it. But the one thing I would have loved for you to do is work side by side by my dad.
Well, that was the goal before he passed away, unfortunately, God rest his soul. But my goal in life was to and we talked about this when I was at the Bluffs. I was trying to get your dad's old recipes,
right? Because
I wanted to. My thing was, can I replicate your dad's sauce work, your dad's product?
And we did that last year.
We did it with the Zuppa de Peche, and it came pretty close. You said, I mean, I try to emulate it, but
hey, that could be something we could do, right?
But
we
also
could not only my dad's stuff, but I mean, old school stuff. We would go, you know, Daryl. Daryl, if you ever see Dirty Daryl. Fish market, absolutely, right? Yeah. Good place is still there. Still awesome fish. We go there for our. We literally went to each market. We go to Colony Market, pick up our produce. We go to A&M Meats, which is now known as Mulberry Street, for our meat. We'd make these trips before we went in. So you're saying, and this is something we'll probably talk about how we used to do that. We physically take all the products, cut them up, make real food. That's gone.
It's gone. It's completely gone. It's all done for you already.
And it's not that it's a bad thing, but it's a different world. But let's not babble. We're gonna hit you guys on a weekly, semi-weekly. We'll figure it out.
A lot of good things coming up, so you definitely want to stay tuned.
All right. Thank you. See you on the next one.